This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life. He may be a big, tough alpha male, but when it comes to needles, Hananya shows another side to his character.
It's funny, actually, because Hananya's a bit of a wimp. Good boy.
The chimps go bananas. And Alison and Jeremy are in Hertfordshire to rehome two small monkeys.
Caesar.
These people are aware that they're no longer able to care for them as best they'd like. They end up with us.
Monkey World is home to 10 rare woolly monkeys. 2 of these were hand-reared by the keepers when their mothers rejected them at birth. Four-month-old Paolo is the second hand-reared baby, and it will soon be time for him to move back in with his own kind. But first, Keeper Mike wants to give him a sneak preview of what's in store.
He's been coming down for a few days, and today he's having another little visit. We'll be doing it over maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then at the end of that, little boy here, who's actually getting quite a big boy, can be living full-time with the woolly monkeys. I mean, he really is ready to be in with the monkeys and weaned off human beings, as it were. He's quite a big, fit boy.
Reintegrating hand-reared primates with their own kind can be difficult, so Mike and Alison have been taking Paolo on regular visits to socialise with another woolly youngster, his half-brother Julio.
Oh, Julio's eating the microphone.
The team hope that it will prepare him for the day he moves in with woolly monkeys full-time.
Look at this.
And it's been going really well, but Paolo and Julio aren't going to stay together.
Good boy.
In the wild, woolly monkeys live in large social groups, and to avoid inbreeding, the males move between families. So to replicate this natural behaviour, the team are moving Paolo to the park's other woolly monkey troop. And the initial signs look good, as high-ranking female, Yarima, and her baby, Inca, seem at ease with Paolo.
All quite happy to see him. They could just come over, have a quick hello and wander off again, so there's no big deal. And they're all used to little babies. They've all had youngsters around them. And as Yurima's got her own little baby there, it should be lovely to see him growing up with Yurima's little ones.
It's still early days, but the future looks promising for Paolo and his new woolly monkey family. Coming up, Paddy's chimps go banana fishing. And Jeremy and Alison have got their work cut out. Catching a pair of capuchin monkeys in Hertfordshire. Over at Paddy's chimp troop, they're being served up one of their favourite treats, frozen bananas. As expected, Keeper Andy gets a noisy reception. Frozen bananas are very special, so everyone's out to get their share and not one goes to waste. Not even if they've landed in the pond. But high-ranking Cindy isn't going to get herself all wet. She's got a much better idea. Use a twig to help her fish out the bananas. In the wild, chimps make tools out of sticks or grasses to get at food that's hard to reach. Back at the park, Cindy's not the only one who's fishing. 16-year-old Kay has come up with the same idea, although she still hasn't quite mastered her technique and is pushing the bananas deeper into the pond. But the bananas aren't Cindy's just yet. It looks like there's a more serious contender for the title of top banana fisher. 25-year-old Zoe, who's got a very solid-looking stick. But Cindy's got a plan. Nick Zoe's stick. Like any good fisherman, Cindy knows that you're only as good as your tackle. And Zoe's stick is perfect. And so is the banana. Monkey World is home to the largest collection of golden-cheeked gibbons outside of Asia. They're an endangered species, so breeding is vitally important. And today, there's an exciting development for Zoe and Jake.
We think Zoe's getting a bit tubby in places. We're seeing some changes in her behaviour, so I've waved the flag and I said I think she may well be pregnant.
Everyone at the park is thrilled because there have been a lot of problems getting the gibbon pairs to bond. When Raphael and Alex were introduced, it went wrong almost immediately.
The day we opened the slider, he decided that he was felt under threat, and unfortunately he did a lot of damage to her arm.
Fortunately, Zoe and Jake hit it off straight away, and now it looks like there might be a baby on the way. But finding out if a gibbon is pregnant isn't easy because their menstrual cycle is hard to track. Luckily, there are other clues. Just like pregnant humans, pregnant gibbons can get hormonal too.
She has some mood swings every now and again. It can be very up and down with our Zoe. So we've been seeing if there's any correlation to that. Is she moody? Is she premenstrual? So, fingers crossed, she could well be a couple of months pregnant.
It's always exciting when there's news of a pregnancy, and with numbers of golden-cheeked gibbons decreasing in the wild, it's fantastic timing.
Gibbons are pregnant for around 7.5 months, so we've got a little way to go, we think, for the moment. Nothing we can do. She's a healthy gibbon. There's nothing wrong with her. As long as she doesn't show any signs of any problems, we'll just treat her absolutely as normal.
Now all Wendy can do is watch and wait to see what's in store for the happy couple. Last week, Monkey World rescued 88 capuchins from a laboratory in Chile, boosting population numbers at the park from 4 to 92. But, as if that isn't enough, Animal Director Jeremy has travelled with Alison to Hertfordshire on a mission to rehome 2 more.
Okay.
Their current owners are getting too old to care for them.
It's quite nice.
Over the last 14 years, the park has rescued and rehomed a staggering 30 small monkeys from the British pet trade. Often from terrible conditions.
Every year we get numerous requests to rehome capuchin monkeys, usually because people have bought them not realizing sort of what duty of care they have, and then find that the animals either become sick, unwell, aggressive, so we end up finding, individuals like TJ in cold wooden sheds, or Gizmo also in a cold, damp wooden shed who's, eaten away half of his tail, or Sinbad who's in a pet shop that's a hellhole and a bomb site. I don't believe that primates make good pets. They're wild animals. It's a huge amount of money to provide the proper facilities, to have heated indoor areas, large natural outdoor areas. Yeah, of course.
But for once, they're pleasantly surprised.
So they had full run of this outside area, yes. Summer and winter?
Summer and winter, yeah.
Great.
Sadly, pet owners often underestimate their monkeys' needs, leading to cases of neglect and cruelty. But this isn't the case here.
This situation is perfect. They're in a social group. The facilities are good. The people care about them. They get wonderful food and have been receiving vet care from the local zoo. So it's not been too bad a scenario here, but nonetheless, these people are aware that they're no longer able to care for them as best they'd like because they've gotten old and the monkeys are long-lived. They end up with us.
Jeremy's got the job of capturing 2 well-looked-after, healthy, happy capuchins, and they just don't want to meet Jeremy's big net. First up is Caesar.
Twist it, twist it.
It may all sound a bit traumatic, but this is the least stressful way to catch him.
9 out of 10 times you're better off just quickly going and grabbing rather than trying to dart, muck about and stuff. It's often far more stressful than just quickly wham-bam.
With Caesar safely inside the travel box, it's Phoebe's turn to try and avoid Jeremy's net.
All right, Phoebe.
But he's a dab hand and catches her first time. With the hard work over, Alison's already making plans for when they arrive back in Dorset.
This is going to have to be a really actually quite swift, quick visit because Jeremy and I want to get the monkeys in the car, get them back down to the park, and hopefully get the female Phoebe straight in with now our 67 females at the house straight away because it'll be early enough in the day. I think we'll have to hold off and wait until doing his introductions until tomorrow.
Moving to Monkey World will be a major adjustment for 19-year-old Phoebe and Caesar because they've never lived with other capuchins. And over the next few days, they will have 92 new housemates to get to know. At Monkey World, Alison and Jeremy are back from Hertfordshire with capuchins, Caesar and Phoebe. After their 3-hour journey, the team are keen to get both of the new recruits indoors as quickly as possible. Caesar will be put in an enclosure by himself, next to the 22 bachelors from Chile.
We'll just release this young gentleman into a bedroom on his own for the moment. We're not going to do any introductions with him today. Let him settle down there for a while, and then we're going to get on and put Phoebe, the female, in with our group of females now. So that's the next job.
We've just let Phoebe, the new capuchin, in with what's now 67 females in this house. So obviously she's a little bit upset because this is the first time out of the cage that she's lived in all of her life. We just need to decide when's the best time to open it up and put her in amongst everybody else now. So probably give her a few minutes and then open it up. What do you reckon? Let him through?
Yeah, well.
Go for it.
The atmosphere seems calm, but as the slide is opened, nobody knows how well the introduction will go.
Oh, there we go. Somebody's been brave enough.
Phoebe takes a few steps out of the bedroom, and some of the females seem intrigued to meet their new housemate.
We've got this youngster that's paying quite a bit of interest, and she's nervous but not approaching, which is a good sign. So it will take her a little while. It must be absolutely overwhelming to come into such a large area with all these capuchins that she's never seen in all her life. But it's only been about 10 minutes, so we'll see how she goes.
Slowly, everyone's beginning to show an interest in the newcomer. But the politics of an all-female group like this are complex. It may take Phoebe some time to find her place. But Keeper Hannah is on hand, just in case she's needed. Later, an unusually calm atmosphere descends over the bachelors as they get their favourite treat. And just how do you gain the trust of a chimp who has the strength of 6 men?
It's a really challenging and rewarding part of the job and showing us how much they can learn to trust us.
On the other side of the park, the Bachelor Boys' enclosure is strangely quiet. What could possibly have caused such a character change in the rowdiest residents of Monkey World? It's their turn for the frozen bananas. Just like Paddy's troop, the bachelors know how rare these treats are, and they've all got their own individual approaches to tackling them. For Paco, speed is the trick. Eat as many as you can, as quickly as you can. He's a high-ranking chimp, so the other bachelors are happy to let him. They show him respect by offering their hand or bottom as a submissive gesture. Sammy has got a different method to Paco. Simply grab as many as you can and hide. And here's new boy, Seamus. He's still refining his method. Pile them high and hope you don't have to share. When he first arrived, getting his hands on anything at mealtimes proved difficult, so it's great to see Seamus getting some bananas, even if it's not quite as many as the others. It's amazing how a simple box of frozen bananas can turn a bunch of loud, obnoxious, thuggish boys into a cool, calm, collected group of friends. Over at Hananya's chimp troop, head keeper Cara and Kate are taking part in a monkey world first for the chimps. They are training them to accept injections from the keepers. Medicating any primates can be demanding and dangerous. The most risky is giving anaesthetic by darting, and the park only does this when absolutely necessary.
There are times where you have to anaesthetise an animal for a health check, for an ultrasound, to stitch up a wound. And obviously we found that darting an animal was one of the most stressful situations.
I don't think she had all of that, but it was not a bad shot.
This is a worrying and difficult procedure for both the primate and the keeper, so they're using a new method to overcome the problem.
And so we wanted to find a way that would allow us to inject the chimpanzees in a more cooperative way, where they were happy and they knew what was happening and it was on their terms and at their pace.
It's taken over a year to get to this stage. Firstly, the chimps had to learn to present their shoulder, then accept the needle touching their skin, and finally allow the injection.
Good girl. So you see, she was fine there and didn't really react. A bit of a rub on the shoulder after the needle had been pulled out. We take it very slow and steady, so the animal knows exactly what to expect and exactly what's involved and what's expected of them.
The syringe is just filled with harmless, sterile water, but one day this might be a life-saving procedure for the chimps. This form of training really shows how much the chimps trust their keepers, but some clearly trust the keepers more than others.
One of the things we learned was the inconsistency with the animals. We imagined that they would just progress slowly, but actually with some of them, sometimes they're very good, other times they're not so good, and Shamak's one of those. Sometimes he responds really well, other times he's much more flinchy. Maybe Shamak's a bit of a wimp and his...
Oh boy. Got there in the
his
end.
pain threshold is a bit lower, but you can see you get there in the end with him. It's been amazing watching them and how they've responded to the training.
And one after another, they line up to take their jabs with barely a complaint. Last up, it's the alpha male, Hananya, surely the toughest of the bunch.
It's funny, actually, because Hananya's a bit of a wimp. Good boy.
And even he manages it in the end. It's amazing what lengths chimps are willing to go to get a banana. Back over in the bachelor chimp group, the frozen bananas are long gone, and the boys are back to their old selves. And it's the leader, Butch, whose job it is to keep everyone in line. In the wild, it's the role of the alpha male to keep the other members of his troop in order, and the position of alpha male is never an easy one. There are always others who are interested in the job, and recently, 17-year-old Paco has been challenging Butch's position. But Butch is no fool. He knows how to keep order. One of his tricks is to make friends with some of the biggest chimps in the troop. When he needs a job doing, they're always ready to step in and make sure it's done properly. But it's Butch's unpredictability and impressive shows of strength that really help him maintain his leadership. So when Paco started to display in a challenge to Butch, the group had a choice. And by seeing Paco off, they backed Butch. Large male chimps like to show their strength, and nowadays, as soon as Paco begins his outbursts, Butch is right there to nip it in the bud. And when he's not around, the whole group step in. It's in a male chimp's nature to display, but Paco's calming down. He doesn't seem as bothered about challenging for leadership anymore. He's learnt that you don't have to be the boss to get your fair share at mealtimes, if you're one of the biggest. And as there are no females to get excited about, Paco may have realised there's not that much worth shouting about after all. Next time, TJ joins the other capuchin monkey males, but he's looking for trouble.
I think he's about to start a fight. Look at him, he's just desperate to start a fight.
A couple of old friends fall out, and Paddy has to step in before it gets nasty. And in Hanania's house, it's teeth cleaning time.
Obviously, their first reaction is to want to grab the toothbrush.